Today we're trying Vegemite. Okay, I've never tried it before, but it's very Australian and so I have to try it. So I'm gonna film me trying it and also gonna talk about like how I see Australia. I've been here for 2 months now, so like kind of my impressions. That smells very weird. I'm gonna eat it with toast, which I think is not ready. Got the toast. Yeah, so I thought I'd make a video about like kind of my impressions of Australia and like comparing to other countries I lived in, and also trying this, which honestly I had no idea what it is. I just knew it's like an Australian thing, but apparently it's like yeast. I thought it'd be like, I don't know, like veggies because it's veggie, but like it's yeast. It's very dark. It smells kind of weird. I'm gonna eat it with toast. Okay, so I've been here for 2 months. So first impressions, honestly, it was more like the U.S. than I thought. I mean, obviously, like there's all these animals that are nowhere else. Like you just see kangaroos and a lot of weird birds and stuff. For me, it feels a lot like the U.S. I've lived in the U.S. like twice, well, basically 3 times, but I did exchange in high school in Michigan and exchange in uni in California. So like I kind of knew it'd be similar to the U.S. Kind of had a feeling, but then I thought it'd be also more European in a way, like compared to the U.S. Like more similarities with like European countries. The dog keeps barking, but anyway. But honestly, it feels like I live in a suburb here, kind of, with the family, and it just feels very American. I mean, obviously it's also like the climate and stuff, but I feel like, yeah, just the vibe is American, which, yeah, I'll go more into. But like, generally very nice. It's like it's nice here, and obviously they like speak like Australians speak like an Australian accent and stuff, so that's like different, obviously, to other places. Yeah, other than that, I'd compare it to US. Okay, but first I'm gonna try this. It doesn't smell good at all. Kind of scared. Honestly, I don't know if I can even finish the whole toast. But, okay, I'm gonna try it. No, that's not. It's kind of strong. I like, honestly not even sure if they eat it on toast. I think they do, but I don't know. My whole family just had it in their kitchen. I feel like every Australian family has Vegemite. Not very good. I feel like it's the same as like Finnish people with their salmiakki, which I also don't like, even though I'm Finnish, but I didn't really eat it when I was little. So it's kind of like that. It's like salty. It doesn't taste like salmiakki, but it's like licorice. But like, I feel like, yeah, it's something you have to be used to like, you know. And I'm not used to this. Honestly, don't know if I can eat that. Let me get some water. Okay, it's like, it's really hard to describe the taste because like it's kind of salty, but it's not very salty. It's just like strong, but like I don't know. It doesn't taste like anything else I've had. I guess it's kind of like, but like yeast smells good, you know. Like if you're making pizza, like it smells good. But this is like 10 times stronger, and on a good, I don't know. I'll try to eat more later, but for now I need a break. Anyway, so like about Australia, like yeah, I think Australians seem very like nice people. Actually, I've been making a list of like the words they use. It's like very funny because like I'm so used to, I speak in American English. Yeah, so they use a lot of British words. You know, they'll say, I have a list because I keep track because they're like very funny. But like, you know, they say like jumper instead of like hoodie, which is like very British. And like they'll say autumn instead of fall, stuff like that. But then they also have like words that I just never like heard, or like nicknames for stuff that I never heard. Like they'll say like sunglasses or sunnies, or swimsuit is swimmers, which makes sense because I guess they probably use those a lot, so then they just like shorten it. But then they say stuff like, if your like battery's dead, like if your phone is dead, they'll say it's flat, like my phone's flat. Like it means like the battery died, which was funny. And then they call skyscrapers high rises, which is very like literal, but like I guess makes sense. I've never heard of that before. And then yeah, obviously, you know, like the whole like the way they say no, like nor, they do kind of say it. It's not like people I've talked to, it's not, or like my host it's not very strong. It's not like, but like you can kind of hear it. And they say oi, Which, and also it's weird because I realized they say oi the way I would use like hey, but then they say hey for what I would use like huh. And it's very confusing. Like now I'm used to it, but in the beginning it would be like, it's like if they don't hear what you said, they might be like, hey, which was like, I would never use that hey in that context. Or if they're like, this is so good, huh? Like you'd be like, oh, this is so good, like, right? Like, oh, right, huh? They'd be like, hey, this is so good, hey. And it's like, what? Like, true. Because like for me, hey is kind of, I think, what they say oi. So it's, if you're like, doing something wrong, you're like, hey, like, don't do that. And then they just say hey, but it's more like in a positive way, and it's like very confusing. Now I'm like used to it, but I was like, it sounded so off. Like, why would you say hey? Like, if you didn't hear what you said, you'd be like hey, but like, you wouldn't say that in like the U.S. or something. Yeah, that was like kind of weird. But yeah, so they say like oi, which is very like, yeah, Australian and British. And just, yeah, they say mate, which obviously in the forest, bush, and so if you go walking in the forest, they say bushwalk, which is kind of funny too. This one I haven't really heard, but I do think they say like breakfast is brekkie. Also, yeah, they call flip-flops thongs, which is like, yeah, you have like different meaning if you're like American, but like you just have to like, yeah, get used to that. But they use them a lot, flip-flops. I don't know, sometimes they pronounce some stuff different, like some numbers, like 13, I feel like they say like 13 or something like that, I don't know. They say kind of weird. Also, like, I was at a cafe, and like the servers would be like, what are you after? Like, what are we after? It wouldn't be like necessarily like what can I get you? It would be like, what are we after today? It's like very chill, like very like, I don't know, casual. Yeah, that's like just some words that they use differently. I'm keeping track. I'll probably add more. But yeah, but like generally though, like the feeling, like the day to day kind of feels American, like from where like I've lived there, which was, I guess, surprising. But like I knew it'd be a bit similar to the U.S., which is kind of why I wanted to come here. They have all these places, and like I knew they'd have like fast food restaurants and stuff like that, like in the U.S. But I feel like a lot of it though is actual like geographical reasons, the climate reasons why it feels similar to U.S. compared to like Europe. And like when I talk about Europe, I've lived in Finland and the Netherlands, and so like kind of compared to like what those have been similar, like compared to like here or like the U.S. I feel like a lot of it, why it feels like the U.S. is because like I live in a suburb, and then so you have to go by car everywhere. Like there's no sidewalk like when you leave the house here. Like I mean I've seen some people walk on the side of the road, but it's like very much a road for cars. So like that's very American compared to Europe. But like I think it's because like the country's so big, so everything's kind of spread out. But like in the cities, like in Brisbane and Gold Coast, like you can walk around there though. But I guess it's kind of like the U.S. Like in the cities, usually you can walk. It just, yeah. But like if you're outside of that, you always need a car. So that's like more American than like compared to Europe. But obviously Europe, like everything's a lot closer because the countries are smaller. But also like food, I feel like, yeah, they have all the restaurant, like fast food places here and stuff. But I mean, I don't know generally though, like do people eat them? Like obviously you have those in Europe too. Yeah, I mean I'm vegetarian, so it feels a bit similar to US that like you can find options, but I feel like it's less than like in Europe, like everywhere it's like getting a lot more easy to be like vegetarian. Um, and of course like I feel like California was okay too. It was pretty good, but like compared to maybe Michigan, obviously that was also like years before, like every year it gets better, I feel like everywhere. But like California was maybe better than Michigan in terms of like vegetarian foods. Here it's like in the stores, like some of the stores you can find like vegetarian, like tofu and soy and stuff, but some of them you can't. And like also there's like at least the McDonald's like close to here where I live, they didn't have any vegetarian options, which like in Europe you always have those vegetarian ones. But I feel like in the US now as well. So I feel like, yeah, it's not as widespread. But then I did see like they have like Hungry Jack's is like a fast food chain here. It's like burgers and stuff. I did see that they have a vegetarian one. So like they do have some options. Like it's okay, but I feel like it's not as much as like in Europe. Usually in like stores you have like a whole fridge full of like different vegetarian stuff, but here it's like very limited, but still you have like a few options. Oh, but one thing I noticed, I feel like food here is like if it's spicy food, it actually is a bit spicier. I know it's still not like if you're actually in like a country with like spicy food, not like comparable to like like actual Asian country or like Mexico or anything, but like I feel like compared to like Europe or in the US, usually if something's spicy, it's not really spicy, but like it's a bit. But I feel like here, it's still, I know it's not like as spicy, but like I can't handle spice like at all. So like for me, it would be like I got like Indian food once from like it was just like a food court, and it had like the mild. There was like medium and then mild. I got the mild, and that was like too spicy for me, which I feel like in like Europe where I've lived and like US, like that would have maybe been medium. And also like once I got like a falafel wrap, and it didn't even say it was spicy, and it was spicy. So yeah, I don't know, just something I noticed, which I feel like, I mean, I usually avoid buying like spicy stuff anyway. Like I don't really like spicy food, but like I can't handle it. I mean, I can have like a little bit, but not like if it's like authentic, like then it's actually spicy. But yeah, I don't know if it's because Australia is a bit closer to like Asia, then maybe it's like spicier and like here, I don't know, but yeah, just something I noticed. But like it's fine, like generally though it's not too spicy, and I just don't eat that spicy food. Yeah, but then like I don't know, some things are just more like feels more like being in the US, like the house and stuff. Like yeah, besides like the animals and stuff, it feels like the way like this family for instance lives is very like American. Like they have carpet floors, which I hate, and I also never see it anywhere besides the US and here. Also they have like ceiling fans, which I know a lot of countries do have, but I think that's more yeah like a climate thing, because like European countries I've lived in, like it doesn't get that hot, so you don't need ceiling fans, so I'm not used to those. But for me, like it's kind of American because they always have them. But also like, for instance, the family doesn't really recycle. Here, like they have a recycling bin where you can put everything, but then I don't know, they only recycle like cardboard boxes. And the same thing was in the US. Like they would, like they'd have recycling, but like last time my housemates, like they didn't recycle. And it's funny because I feel like it's in countries where it's like easier to recycle in a way that they have just like one like recycling box, and you can put everything that's recyclable, like plastic, cardboard, like everything in one thing, and that's like recycled. But then like, and they still don't really recycle the people. But then in countries like in Europe, like in Finland, you have to like separate everything yourself, like metal, plastic, like everything, cardboard, paper, like they're all separate, and still I feel like almost everyone recycles. Like it's very normal. Like it'd be like weird if you didn't recycle, I feel like more. Like it's a lot more common, even though it's like more work. But I feel like that's kind of maybe it. And then like in the Netherlands, it's kind of between that, like you also have to separate, but some things would go together, like cardboard and paper together, and like metal and plastic are together, like packaging is together. So then it's like still some separate, but like some are together, and then there people would recycle, but maybe not as much as Finland, like I feel like. But I feel like, yeah, maybe it's just like, it's more the attitude, like if you're gonna recycle, then you like separate everything you're gonna recycle. But if you're not, then even if it's just one bin, you're still not gonna do it. In public though, like you do see like recycling bins, but then like sometimes it's not really sure like what you can put in it, or like they have this stuff, but then yeah, I don't know. That's just something I noticed. Whereas like in Europe, I feel like everyone recycles it very well. But they do have like, for instance, paper straws and not plastic straws. Like in the US, they still use plastic, like everywhere. Here though, like sometimes they use more plastic than in Europe. Like if I'd buy food, sometimes they'd give it in like plastic containers in places, like if it's like takeaway, or even if I'm like, if it's like a food court, then it's like they just give it to everyone. So yeah, but like I feel like in Europe it usually come maybe in like a cardboard thing or something. So they do use a bit more plastic, I feel like, but not as much in the US. They use everything is plastic, like plastic forks and plastic like everything. Here it's like kind of between, yeah, I would say, compared to like Europe where it's like, plastic straws are illegal and stuff. So like there you see plastic anymore, and like yeah, and like food and like places. Here it's yeah, kind of between. Yeah, in that way, like the house, like the vibe of it, the way it looks, and like yeah, stuff like that just feels more comparable to the US than Europe maybe. But I know also yeah, like a lot of it is like just the way the country is, like it's like warmer here, so like yeah, the ceiling fans, but also like the house, the way it's built, it's not very like insulated, which is like in a lot of countries besides Finland. Like I feel like in Finland, like because it gets so cold, like you freeze to death if like the house is more like insulated and like very warm inside. But then like everywhere else in countries where like it still gets cold in the winter, like coldish, but then they don't like insulate because of that. So then it's like really cold inside during the winter, like in the Netherlands, our house was cold, and like in California and Michigan, also in the winter, like the house was cold like at night. But like in Finland, it's never cold inside because like you have to have good heating, and like the walls are like proper walls, and the windows always like double panel, whereas like in these other countries it's always like single. So it's just kind of funny. It's also like a mindset thing that they're like used to, like I don't know, like habits and like stuff. Like they'll use the ceiling fans even when it's not hot, because like I feel like most of the year, like here and in California, like I feel like because most of the year it's hot, that then they're like, yeah, they just like tend to keep them on. But then it's like in the winter months, like even if it's not really cold, it's still colder. Like you really don't need the fan on, but they still use it. And then you're just like cold inside, which is kind of weird. And like yeah, I don't think you really need heating, but like they'll still like keep windows open, and like yeah, the fans on when you really don't, when it's like cold at night. So like here also, like the first month I was a bit cold at night. I mean they do have like a heating, like the AC thing with heating, but like I would keep my door closed, mostly because the cat peed on my bed once or twice, so I just keep it closed. So the cats don't come in our room. So then yeah, in the beginning it was a bit cold at night, but then I guess because most of the year it's warm, so then it's fine. And now it's like been warm, and you can have like the windows open, it's fine. But yeah, there's just like I think like a climate difference, and just the way we do things in Finland, I guess. But it's also yeah, the way that people dress and stuff. Like I feel like I've said this so many times. I feel like when I say I'm from Finland, and I say like how cold it is, people feel like, oh, like they're always like I'd freeze there, like I couldn't leave, like I'd be so cold. But thing is, like in Finland, I don't really feel cold because you just dress warmly, and the houses, like the apartments inside are warm. So like inside you're warm, and when you go outside you just put like actual proper jacket and like actual clothes. So like most of the time I'm not cold. Like maybe my face is a bit cold, but like even if it's like -degrees, sometimes I'll still like break a sweat from like walking and stuff because I have like a winter jacket. But then like in places where it's warmer, like even the Netherlands where it's a bit warmer than like especially California and here, then it's like you have this idea like, oh, it's not that cold, so then you just don't wear much. But then like yeah, like in the evenings it gets cold, or like the winter months it gets like colder, but then you're not wearing that much, so then you feel cold. And I feel like these people that live there, they feel like I couldn't be in a colder place because this feels cold when it's like 10 degrees, but it's like they're not even wearing jackets, so like of course you're cold. Also yeah, like the first month I came, I went to like, it was like the first weeks I was here, I went to this like fair thing, and it was like, we went like when it was like nighttime, kind of like late when it was dark. And so like it was cold, like I wore a jacket, but there was like people in like shorts and stuff, because like during the day it was warm, like yeah, you could wear shorts during the day, but then they like just wear it the whole day. I get like maybe if you don't go home, but like still, like if you go out, then I feel like they're just like, oh, you can wear shorts, so you always wear shorts, and then you're just like cold at nighttime because like it's not warm anymore, especially because I think it's the mountains, like in California and here also there's mountains, so like I think that makes it colder at night. Like the difference is a lot. I get like not changing clothes all the time, but like having a jacket with you or something. That's what I've noticed like in a lot of countries in here too, because it's more about, I think, the mindset that if you're not in a cold country, then you don't like dress warmly, but then like sometimes it gets a bit cold, but then you still like yeah. Obviously like compared to the US though, like it's more like bigger things are like more like Europe, like healthcare and like political situation is like better here than the US, more comparable to Europe. But then but more like the day-to-day stuff, that you like when you live here, like how you feel. Like if you're only here for a year, then those things you don't like feel it that much. So like besides those things, then it feels more like you're in the US than like being in Europe. Although I did like hear that Melbourne is kind of like a European city, which I haven't been to yet, but I'm gonna visit. I have a friend that lives there. So I'll see like how that is, if that feels like European, because I've heard it's kind of European like vibes. But like yeah, here it's very like feels American. Also like the other day I was talking with a couple people and they were saying like the Gold Coast is kind of like Florida and like surface paradise, like the beach is like very like Miami vibes. So yeah, I think like in general it's giving like in this area like Queensland is like very American with like the suburbs and the cities and like just the way you go like the day-to-day stuff, like how it looks. It is also like very like flat, like there's the mountains, but besides that it's like very flat, kind of just like a lot of roads, you know, like everything's like spread out, you know, it's just like, you know, in Europe it's more like taller houses maybe, or like, you know, it's like you have like floors, but here it's a lot of like restaurants are just like separate and like one, but then like the cities do have like then skyscrapers like properly, but then that's also kind of like in the US. I don't know, it feels like that, but I think it's because it's so big, so then they're just like spread out, and you know, as Europe you have to like put everything together, so that's why it's like more packed and yeah, more walkable and stuff. The people though, there are like I haven't talked to a lot of Australians or like hung out with, but like what I've got, like it is kind of like they say like Australians are very chill and they're very nice, and like yeah, the accent's funny. I still sometimes almost like when people start talking in like public in a very like Australian accent, I almost start like laughing just because it's so funny because I'm not used to it. Not like because of what they're saying, but I'm getting used to it though. Also another thing like with like the house stuff, which is more like in the US, is like the bedding. Like they don't do it like in Europe. You have like a duvet and then you have a duvet cover and that's what you change and that's how you sleep. But then in the US and like in here, you have like a blanket and then you have like a flat sheet and that's like what you like have against you and that's what you like change, but they keep the blanket, or like that's how they do in the US. Here like they still have it is a duvet and a duvet cover, but then it's kind of like this nice like thicker kind that's like you wouldn't really wash it all the time, so then they have the flat sheet under, but it's like very annoying because like the flat sheet that moves around because they have that and like the blanket, and then it's just like I feel like even if you're like on the like bed like during the day, like in Europe you'd usually just have like another blanket on top that you like a day cover, you know, but you'd have like the blanket with like the duvet and the duvet cover, but like here it has a flat sheet. But that's like in the US. Also like measurements, it's like they do have, yeah, they have the metric system here and stuff, like they use kilometers and stuff, but then like with baking they do use cups, like US cups, but also I think like milliliters, but like they do use the cups, whereas like in Europe you don't, like yeah, so it's like sometimes they use like American some measurements, but then like they do use like kilos and stuff. It's getting really dark. I keep having to change the lighting because it's the sun is setting. I should have done this earlier, but anyway, yeah. So like those small things is like very like US. Also like food like packages, they'll like say it's like between like okay in Europe you'd have like per 100 grams like all the nutritional values. It always says like per 100 grams. In the US it always says per serving. So then you have to check like what the serving size is. But it says it per serving. Here I feel like they always have both. Like this. Yeah, they always have both. Like they'll have, I don't know if you can see, but they'll have like this one's per serving, and then I don't know what that is, but there's per serving and per 100 grams. So like here they do both, but then like yeah, in Europe it's usually just 100 grams, and in the US it's always just a serving. So yeah, there's just like stuff like that that's like it's kind of in between. Yeah, it has like similarities to both and also differences to both and like their own thing in a lot of things, but also like the roads, obviously it's the left side, which I had to get used to in the beginning driving. Also like the way the roads work, it's more like I don't know, in Europe or like at least in Finland where I like drive, everything goes very well. Like you have the lanes and like especially where I live, it's like there's usually just like 2 lanes because it's not that big. But then like here sometimes the lanes, and the same was in the US, and sometimes the lane would just like end and you'd have to change even though you were going straight. It's like, why am I changing lanes? Or like suddenly it's very weird because here like you're supposed to be on the left side, right? So then if you have 2 lanes like going one direction, usually you'd go like in like Finland, if there's like 2 lanes, you always like prefer the right one, you know, because you're on the right side. And here I'd assume like you'd prefer the left one, but the thing is usually the left one like disappears. Like suddenly you have to merge onto the right one, and like you have an overtaking lane, like you go past, it's like on the right, but then like you have like one lane and then it becomes two, right? So like if you're not overtaking, you stay on the left, and if you overtake, you go on the right one. But then the right one becomes the like one after, so like the left one ends. So like even if you're not like overtaking anything, you have to switch lanes, which is like in Finland, like if you're going straight, you just go straight, and it's the overtaking lane that comes in. Like if you want to overtake, you need to like go there and go back. So it's like really annoying. So usually I'm just like on the right side if there's two lanes, because like suddenly it might like change. Or once I was like on the left side and suddenly it was like you have to like turn left. I'm like, I'm not turning left, I'm going straight. So like I usually just drive on the right one, but I'm not sure if I'm supposed to. Like I feel like that's for like overtaking, but it's just, yeah. But one thing I like is like at crossways, if you're like turning, they have like dotted lines on the crossway, so like you know where to go. Because like when I started driving, that was always hard. I had to like check like where am I going, like so I go in the right like lane. But like here they have those lines, so like that's the only like good thing that I see here that I haven't seen anywhere else that like helps. But I mean, you don't really need it. Like only in the beginning it's good, then like you kind of get used to it. But I mean that's just like a plus. But like yeah, I don't really like the way the system works here, and there's like so many lanes, and then like they just suddenly like change out of nowhere. It's like, how am I supposed to know that? Whereas like I feel like in Finland that's never happened to me. Like a lane doesn't just disappear. Like if you're just going straight, it's only if you're turning, then obviously change the lane. But if I'm going straight, I should be able to just be on that lane. But here it just like changes. But that's the same in the US. Like suddenly you'd have to change the lane, and it's like so annoying. But yeah, those are some things I've noticed. It's getting really dark. I could turn the light on, but I think that was mostly it. Should I try? I should try one more bite of. Okay, I'll try one more bite of this, but I don't think I can eat it. It's so weird. It's also so dark, but it's like, you know, it almost looks like chocolate, but it's not. Actually, you know what? It's similar to Mammi, like in Finland. You know, it's like dark and it looks like it'd be like chocolate, but it's not. I feel like that's like comparable. Like for Finnish people, if you're thinking what this tastes like, I'd compare it to that, because it's like not good, like for me, but it's like something people eat there. Yeah, actually I have no idea what that's made of. Maybe it's made of kind of same thing. I don't know. Okay, I'll try to eat one more bite. It's just like very strong. I feel like I put way too much on this. Like I can barely taste the bread. I feel like you could get used to that, but not very good. I don't think I can eat that. Okay. Well, one thing though that they have here is Cadbury chocolate, which you know they have it in the UK, but I haven't seen much in other places I've lived. I mean, yeah, you do have it like in the US and some European countries, but like in Finland you can't get Cadbury really. So that's like really good that they have here. I feel like Australians don't have a lot of like specific foods for them. But if I see stuff that I haven't tried before, I'm definitely trying them out, and I'll do like taste tests, take some videos as well, so I'll keep you updated on the foods I try here as well. But yeah, that was like just some impressions. It's getting super dark. Let me go by the window because it's getting super dark. Okay, but yeah, that was it. I hope you enjoyed. Just my impressions, I don't know, stuff that I've been thinking about. But I'll see, it's only been 2 months, and like I'll be like going to more places and stuff. So like my thoughts might change on like the country and like how I see it. So I'll keep you updated on how I view this place and like if I'd want to live here longer or not. Right now I'm doing a year, which I think is a good amount, or like 10 months or something. So I think that would be nice to like experience everything. But so far, like generally though, it's a nice place to live in, I think, and I like that it's warm and sunny and there's the beach and stuff, which is like similar to California, which is also why I wanted to come here. Like those are things that I enjoy, like, or like a place where I want to live. So yeah, be sure to subscribe to see more content from me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.